You've heard me say so many times that our thoughts shape our reality. Many times we have thoughts that are the worst case scenario. But what if we shifted just 1 minute before we make our choice, before we make our decision, and say, what if things could go right? So today, I want to encourage all of you to start thinking in a different way so that we can let our yes be greater than our fear. So I want to encourage you to get your pen, your paper, your pencils, whatever it is that you want. Write it on the wall, write it on your mirrors with lipstick, red lipstick, that we are going to learn and grow together. It is time. It is time for us to stop giving away our power, and we're going to learn together right now. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you. Hi, my name is Lillian McDermott, and I am a certified life coach, a certified holistic cancer coach, and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show, Classroom. If this is your first time in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Well, here we are. Here we are. It is, I'm sure you're just like tired of hearing, oh, Lily's summit, Lily's summit. It's not my summit. It's everybody's summit. It is the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit. That I am is that God in us, that higher voice in us. Some people call it universe, some people call it God, some people call it another name. But I know that God doesn't care what we call God. Just like I don't care if you call me Lily, Lil, Lillian, hey, you, hey, whatever it is that you want to call me, it's still me. It doesn't change me. Some people have made fun of me and call me by names. It doesn't change me. I am still who I am. But that I am that is in us, we've been taught to ignore, to serve people, to care more about what people will say than what God thinks of us. So today in the classroom, I'm going to share how in my life, how I've learned to make my yes greater than my fear. What I'm trying to tell you here is that when your fear becomes greater, then your faith will go down. And then we are like trying to figure it out on our own. But I'm telling you right now, God gives us what we need, when we need it, at the time we need it. And if we go through life with that faith, when we go through life, because I can think about my children and I want to give them everything I possibly can. All they have to do is ask. Because there have been times where I think I know what they want, but it's not what they want. But I love it when they ask for a favor. And I could say, yes, I can do that. Or no, I can't do it right now. If a kid keeps coming to you for money and money and money and they're not growing and learning, sometimes we have to say no. But it's not the first thing you say. There are times where no is a valid answer, but if yes is greater than our fear, that's where the magic happens, honestly. The best things I've ever done in life are because I didn't know all the answers. I didn't know all the details, but my intuition said, yes, I'll do it. And then when I get closer to the time and the event, I go, oh man, I wish I would have known all these details. But you know what? It all falls into place. These details fall into place. So I want to share with you today some of the things that I've done, some of my yeses that have been so amazing that I myself cannot believe the favor God has for me. And that doesn't mean my life has been smooth sailing and easy. It just means that I believe in the promise that God works things out for the good of all, and that what man intends for harm, God intends for good, I'm all covered. I'm all covered. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that I will be able to share this time with you before the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit. And for those of you who are watching today, maybe this is the first time you hear about this and you say, man, I really want to go. I want to put my name in the winner's basket. By tomorrow, I will, just one day, I will pick the first person who says, I want these 2 tickets, but make sure that you can be there on November 1st from 9 to 5, at least 9 to 5. We open registration at 8 and we close at 6. So that gives you an extra hour to work in the morning with some of the vendors and get to know what everything is, pick out your seat, grab something to eat or drink. It's going to be so fun. Learning and growing to me is so fun. Being curious instead of critical is so fun. Meeting somebody that is like-minded, that you can just be who you are without thinking you're going to offend them, it is such a precious gift, especially now, today, in today's climate, how things are in this world, to be able to be around your tribe. These are people who are curious, and we're going to meet wonderful vendors that have Lilly approved products. And we're going to also learn from the incredible, wonderful speakers. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But just know that you just need to text me at 407-373-5959. And you just make sure you can be there the whole entire day. This is not come and go, and be distracted like we are in life. But today, I would like your yes to be greater than your fear. And what is the fear? So as I'm building up to this, I went on vacation. Who plans a vacation right before a major event? The I Am the Solution Natural Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Disease. Who does that? I did. Why? Because it was in September. Oh, I'll have a lot of time. But that's a whole week. I mean, that's like, a year in a child's life or in a dog's life, maybe 7 years in a dog's life. So what I'm saying to you here is that in the last several weeks leading up to this morning, knowing that I'm going to do the last show or the last class before the summit, let your yes be greater than your fear. And I'm just going to, as always, I'm very transparent with you. I will always tell you the truth, and I will not sugarcoat it. Maybe sometimes I do, because that's just my personality. Dr. Day used to say that to me. Oh, you're so nice. You're so nice. You just got to be raw. Because I say to her, you're so raw. And she would say, but you're so nice. You like the flour sugarcoat it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's my personality. And I've got to be true to me. Because the moment you stop being true to who you are, then you stop being you. And then you continue to please people and forget the one that we need to please is God. So coming to this, take this glorious week off. We went on vacation with some great friends of ours. And as we come back, the pile of things that needed to be done hadn't been done because I wasn't there. Or I wasn't here. I was there. I started experiencing something that I hadn't experienced in a long time. And maybe it was because the last time I planned another event. If you've planned an event, one of the greatest fear is that you're going to show up and all the crickets will be there. Nobody else will be there. Who's going to come? And all of a sudden, the fear starts. Oh, hello, darkness, my old friend. I come to be with you again. That's the ego. That is the ego. So over the last 3 weeks, and even beyond that, I have been doing everything I can to promote this. I've been going around handing flyers. I've been talking to friends. I've been, begging, pleading, doing all the things to get people to see this as an incredible event that will be life-changing for everybody. Last year, when I was giving my talk, which I'll be the first speaker, get it over with so that I can just continue being the MC and the host of the event. My talk is on the mindset of health. What causes us and what causes that failure? And it starts in the mind. And if you look back at the last class I did, about making decisions, first it's the thought, then it's the feeling, then it's the action. I'm not going to go over this again. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to the class on decisions. What are you waiting for? That's the class. Okay. So for now, I am the last 2 weeks. That's when the most sales of the tickets happen. But leading to that, you got to be patient. You got to wait. You've got to trust. You've got to have faith. And because I had taken that time off, I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to make up for that last time? I've lost sleep. I've woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning and started working until 10 o'clock at night when I go to bed that same day or that next day. It has been very stressful. And so I've also, as you know, I've gone through Bible study fellowship. I love Bible study fellowship. I graduated or went through the program many years ago. And about 3 years ago, I said, you know what? I want to go back because the Lily who took Bible study fellowship back in the early 2000s is not the same Lily who is in the 2023, 24, 25. So I decided to do it. Well, now I'm going through the book of Daniel. And in the last 2, 3 weeks, the story of Daniel has become so entrenched in my heart. The faith that Daniel had, nothing kept his focus away from God. He knew what God expected and wanted of him. And it didn't matter if he was going to be chopped into little pieces. It didn't matter if he didn't want to be defiled by the food of the king. It didn't matter if he was going to be thrown into the lion's den or be burnt in fire with Meshach, his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They went into the furnace. It didn't matter. He stayed focused about pleasing God. What happened around him? Jealousy. People talk about you. People want harm for you. And all of that has happened to me building up to this event. I think I spoke a little bit about it in one of my previous classes, but it had affected me in one way or another. I could ignore it and say, I need to be about my business here. I need to focus. And so that's what I've been up to. I have been about focusing and making sure that I make sure that all these ticket sales, my vision when I was giving my talk last year to the I Am the Solution, and this was all about prevention. As I'm giving the talk on the mindset of health, I'm having a dialogue in my head. And the dialogue was something very similar to this. I'm speaking, I'm going through the slides, and my head is saying, 160 people here. There should be 300 people here. There should be more people. People don't care about prevention. And I'm hearing this in my head while I'm speaking to the attendees, the audience. And I just put my hand on the podium and I leaned over and I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop a minute here and share the conversation in my head. And people kind of laughed. They thought I was joking. No, I was literally having a conversation in my head. And I looked around and I said, I feel that I am I'm preaching to the choir. And I really want to speak to the people who have illnesses. I want the people with cancer and autoimmune conditions, someone who is not happy with their health right now. I also want the people that want to stay healthy because it's a lot easier to stay healthy than to reverse illness. That's just a fact. So my goal is to be as healthy as can be. And when I burn the candle at both ends, I know that I need to take that moment to be at peace and know that God will give me that rest when I'm done with this little phase in my life. But I declared at that moment that the next I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit will be for cancer and autoimmune disease. Yes, we're going to focus on always on prevention, but we're going to be focusing on how do you reverse disease and how do you reduce the recurrence of that disease. So I shared this, and here we are. That was in April of last year. Now here we are in November of 2025. And I am freaking out because I figured all these people that were sick and they're just going to grab their seat and we know it's going to sell out. But why haven't you bought the ticket yet? It's fear. It's fear. It's fear that maybe someone's going to think I'm weird, that I am actually stepping out of the norm, stepping out of the mob mentality. Well, you take a pill to cure that ill. You can take a pill or you can take responsibility. And I've said that so many times, that's my registered service mark. So if you ever want to use it, you need to get my permission. But when you think about it, we have been taught so many things that aren't true. You're not good enough. You're ugly, you're dumb, someone else is smarter than you. God forbid that you would have a thought that is outside of that norm. I know that I was one of the people in the past that would make fun of people who I am today, the person I am today. But what was my shift was that I let my yes be greater than my fear. I let my curiosity be greater than what people would think of me or what I thought of them. Criticism. And it's been like the cheese stands alone kind of thing because for many years, think about this. This was back in 1998 when I started eating differently than everybody else. I didn't eat meat. I didn't eat pork. I couldn't eat fried foods. I couldn't have bread. I couldn't have dairy. I couldn't have peanuts. I couldn't have almonds. And do you know how many people since then have made fun of me because of the way I eat? It is not worth it to me to eat something that's going to make me sick. Why would I knowingly do that? But there's people all over the world that know it and still do it. There are people all over the world that don't even know that they have an allergy and how it manifests in the body. So when I learned these new truths, that was just the beginning of my journey. Dealing with the criticism was part of my journey that has created the woman who I am today. People make fun of me. I could give a flip, really. If people try to harm me, I know God will bless it. So my mindset has been so rewritten, and that will be the first talk at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit. So why am I talking to you about yes being greater than the fear? Well, let's go back. As of Bible study this year, Daniel, the faith that he had. And I consider myself a very faithful woman, very faithful. I know that whenever the housing crisis happened, when the 911 happened, it all affected us financially. It affected us in so many different ways. So there have been trials, but it has been through those trials that God has really propped me up and said, yeah, just hold off a second because I'm going to do a big ta-da, because that what you think is bad is going to be a gift for you. And I knew that in the core of my being. And it wasn't until somebody offered for me to start to interview me for a campaign that I started for one of my clients that someone said, hey, for a 30-minute interview, I was interviewed by John Harper. 30 minutes later, he came in and said, wow, how long have you been doing radio? And I went, 30 minutes. And that was back in 2011. Now, when he asked me to do a show, he didn't charge me. He said, I'm going to give you free reign. What would you do a show on? Well, I've always longed for good friends because anybody can be your friend if you feed them, you clothe them, you coddle them. Everybody wants all of that. You invite them over for dinner. They never reciprocate. People love people like me. So I always felt like I wanted a friend like me. So I created the I am this, I created the whenyouneedafriend.com, the Lillian McDermott radio show. All the when you need a friend.com that came much later, maybe 3 years after I started the show, because the first year was 1 hour on a Saturday. The second year of starting the show was a 2 hour show on a Saturday. And then the third year, I was asked to go 1 hour Monday through Friday. And then I was picked up in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville put me from Southeast Georgia all the way down I-4 in Florida and 95. And so now I'm being picked up by a lot of other stations. This was huge. This is something I didn't plan. But what started off as harm that was caused to me back then, and I ended up starting my own marketing company, and then that led me to do a campaign that led me to the show, that and it all came from the economy. I needed to go back to work. And so those are so many, if you look at that and you go, oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see. If you perceive it as horrible, it will be horrible. If you perceive it as, oh, I'm in a new adventure, then can you imagine how much lighter that's going to feel? And that's what I learned during all the different trials in my life. That if I resisted the change, then it caused me time where I couldn't sleep. And that is what happened leading up to today. I remember going, okay, we need to start a Facebook campaign. We need to do this. We need to, and all of a sudden, as I journal, God is saying, don't worry about this. I got you. I'll fill up that room. I will fill up that room. You do the administrative stuff. You do the sending out emails. You do all that stuff. You do that. I got it. And I was in not happening fast enough, God, not happening fast enough. I need to reach out to this person, reach out to this person. Until I woke up at 1:30 in the morning. And what God spoke to me as I journal. When I journal, I wait for God to speak to me, not audibly, but in my heart. And I don't know if that makes sense to some of you, but I've been doing this since I was 5 years old. I thought everybody did it that way. It wasn't until I interviewed, oh gosh, what's his name, from the Conversations with God, that I realized that this wasn't normal. This is something that he wrote about. It became a famous person. But I digress. So now here we are, and I'm having this journaling kind of going back and forth with God, where I'm hearing him say, I am in control. You've done all you can do. Now you need to trust me. And every time I journaled, that is what came to me. And so I am driving to Bible study on a Monday, because I now changed from a Thursday to a Monday to accommodate my new client that I have. And someone who is very, very respected in the cancer industry, who does a huge conference every year, called me up and said, how can I help you? Oh yeah, we can send out, we can mail it out. And I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you. People, once I stopped, people came to me. Sometimes we block God from doing miracles in our lives because we're so busy trying to do his work. So why is this yes so important? And what did I get out of it? And just last night, I'm talking to someone who I hadn't spoken to in a while. And I told them about an opportunity to rent a room in a beautiful location so that they can resume their business. In that conversation, I thought I was helping them. But it turns out that I mentioned Daniel, and she like squealed about Daniel. Oh, Daniel's been showing up so much in my life. And I said, wow, me too. And that conversation went from business to personal, to prayer, to rebuking fear from my gut. Fear, where's that fear coming from? That fear comes from our ego. When we think we know more than God, ego edging God out. That ego comes from childhood traumas that, maybe I, like as a child, I just didn't feel like I belonged. Don't know why. And as I read scripture, we're not of this earth. I've always been so connected to God. Now, there have been times where I take God for granted, or I get upset with God, Jesus, or I get upset. But then as I've gotten older, I realize, and especially with Dr. Lorraine Day, I realize that God is a gajillion times smarter than I am. Why wouldn't I allow God to bless everything I do, to go to God and say, God, I need for you to do this, or thank you for doing this for me. Thank you, Lord. This is what I need. Can you please do this? Ask once and then just praise God, because when my children ask me to do something, they know I will do everything I possibly can to do it. But I'm very limited. I'm human. God is expansive. God can do all things. So as I am praying and figuring out this childhood little girl that didn't feel enough, that felt that I didn't belong, started trying to help me and was kind of freaking out, trying to help organize everything to the point where I could not sleep. And then the prayer came. Although I've been journaling and talking to God and listening, but not obeying. So some of the best things that I've ever done, like the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit saying, there's going to be a lot of people here. What if nobody shows up? Those are the thoughts that I was having, to the point I was having dreams about it and waking up going, okay, I got to work. I got to do all this stuff. But the reality is I didn't have to. God already had it. The moment I let it go and I allowed my faith to be greater than my fear, it was when Julia appeared and said, how can I help you, Lily? Joanna appeared. I'm going to send out this massive email out. That Shauna appeared and said, let's rebuke that spirit, that weed that's in your belly that was planted when you were a child. And last night, as I laid in bed, because I knew I said yes to this, I said yes to the radio station. I said yes to curiosity. I said yes to going into personal growth. I said yes to becoming a coach. Then I said yes to doing the becoming a certified holistic cancer coach. And all these yeses. Can you imagine who I'd be today if my fear was greater than my faith, which is what I've been experiencing over the last several days, which I am not a fearful person. Fear is not of God. Fear is not of God. And I know that. Then why? Why? And it was because we go to what's familiar. I coach people on this all the time. We go to what is familiar, feeling like you don't belong and not enoughness and not loved. Those were things that happened to me that were triggers that put me that faith, that fear came up and the faith was going down without even me knowing it. So I'm encouraging you to take a good look at where you are in your life. Are you doing what you were ordained to do when you were a child? Are you doing it? If yes, yay, congratulations. But if not, Why not? What is keeping you from your yes? What is keeping you from your greatness? What is keeping you from your faith? So it was so funny last night. I said to Shauna, coincidentally enough, the class I'm going to be recording tomorrow is make your yes greater than your fear. And she laughed because I was going through it. I was living it. So I'm speaking to you fresh off the press. For those of you who are young, a press is how they used to make newspapers. For those of you who are young, that's a piece of paper that you read and people get and would look forward to getting every day. But fresh off the press, I am telling you that I experienced, and when I go through Bible study, this normally happens where I go through the book and I live the book. To me, the Bible is experiential. I wish it wasn't, but it's great because had I not gone through all the things that I've gone through, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be able to look at you in the eyes and say, the more I think I know, the less I find out I know. I may be your teacher today, but I am also a huge student. And for those of you who are teachers and love to teach, just know that a good teacher is a good student as well. For those of you who are leaders like I am, I remember going through the program and I had to be the program for becoming a personal growth program. This was my first time going around and doing this. And it was not saying a word and being guided by a leader. We had to go through this obstacle course. Well, I had to tell everybody what they needed to do because I'm such a strong leader. And at that moment, the guy, Carlos, said to me, not another word, Lily. I know you know how to do this. Not another word. And I'm like, but nope, not another word. He ended up taping my mouth and he put something over my eyes so that I could just feel what it's like to be guided. And you know what? It was awesome. It was so awesome to not feel like I have to be in control. This was the start of my journey of realizing that I am not responsible for you. I could plant seeds, and if you choose to do it, great. If you choose not to do it, it is none of my business. And it is none of my business what you think of me either. So at that moment, I got to feel what it was like to just rest and trust. Yes, I rest and trusted God, but I also work like a maniac to get things done. A maniac on a mission. So when I experienced that, I finally knew that a good leader must be a great follower, not the other way around. So, some people say, oh, I'm a follower. I'm a follower. I don't want to be a leader. Well, if you want to be a follower, you got to understand what the leader goes through. So there's so many different parts of that. If we're only looking at life this way, kibbles and bits, kibbles and bits, kibbles and bits. Remember that commercial? For those of you who are young, that's the little dog Jim Dandy commercial. That that's the focus. That was the focus. I need to do this. 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 And God, I know God is going to help me, but I got to do it. The reality is, and I learned this through the New Truth series with the Book of Revelation with Dr. Lorraine Day, is that I can plant the seed, and I thought I had to see it through fruition. I had to see it through fruition. I had to help somebody get saved or help somebody change their mentality, and it was like I was a drip, I was a drip, I was a drip. I'm sure I got people upset, maybe, maybe not, but I just kept at it until I got my way. My husband calls me persistent because that's my middle initial is actually P when I was born. And he would say that P is for persistent. And so I thought that was a great attribute. And it is a great attribute. But our strengths used inappropriately is not good either. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is I want to invite you to be curious. I want to invite you to say yes and know that once you say yes and you make that commitment, God will give you what you need when you need it. And, Shauna was saying to me that they were looking for this place and they just were waiting for God to show up and say, this is the place where you need to go. And it may be the place that I thought, that she could use, or it may not be the place. Regardless, I did what I had to do. It's up to Shauna now to do what she wants to do and what God is calling her to do. But here's the thing. As I walked away from that location that I was asking for people to spread the word and see if they wanted to attend, and I was basically making a call. What I left with was connection. What I left with was Shauna and Tanya's name in my head. I picked up the phone. I did what I was asked to do. And that was a week ago. And here we were a week later. And she was like, yes, we're looking for a place. And yes, and then she would end up praying with me. God is good all the time. And if you do not believe in God, believe in these principles that you will be given what you need when you need it by a higher power. And why wouldn't you want to be curious about that too? So the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit is for all of us. Somebody said to me just yesterday, oh, she needs to go to this event. She needs to go to coaching. She needs this, whatever. And I said, you know what? No, nobody needs it, but we deserve it. We deserve to get out of that belief system that holds us back. That belief system that happened when we were children. Oh, and by the way, belief when we were children, hold that thought. I will write it. Okay. For those of you who would like to attend the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Dys-Ease on November 1st, 2025, I will say this, that if you text me, because the event is in a couple days, today is Thursday, the 30th of October. The event is November 1st. And if you're listening to this and this is resonating with you, let your yes be greater than your fear. First of all, are you available? Now, don't say, oh, I'm not available. I got to wash my hair that day. That is not a valid reason why you're not available. If you're getting married on that day, that's a valid reason. But what I'm trying to say to you is that if money is your limitation, and you say, oh, I can't afford to go to this. I'd like to go, but I can't afford it. I have made this event as affordable as possible for the vendors, for the speakers, for the attendees, so that we all share in the party. We all share in the event. And I've done that because I've gone to many events that are so cost prohibitive. And I want the event, the I am the solution, that I am, that's the God in us, the higher power in us, to say, yes, I want to be. I want to be the solution. I am the solution because I am is in me. And so that's how this whole thing started. If I would have said no to John Harper, well, I don't have a degree in broadcasting, and then say, well, I don't have a degree in coaching people, or I don't have a degree, a college degree to do whatever. If I would have thought that, that would have limited me, and I wouldn't be here right now talking to you. So because I said yes to the invitation, I am here speaking to you today. So I want to encourage you that if you are listening to this class today or tomorrow, you might be able to get a free ticket. And I will say, I am going to offer for anyone the IAT 25. Oh, I'm sorry, IATS 25. The I am the solution. So that's the IATS 25. That's the code. And for some reason, my hand seems like it's raised. I guess I can't raise my hand anymore because I don't know if you saw that, but I see it on my screen. If you want to attend, I'm going to offer you a discount of $25. Now, someone said to me, don't give your discount. Your prices are really low as it is. But you know what? It's not about the money. It's about the curiosity. It's about the experience. It's about understanding that our body was made to heal. That if I love my kids as much as I do, and I am willing to do just about anything for them, how much more does our God love us and wants us to prosper, wants us to be healthy, wants us to be abundant? How much more would our Father God, Creator, wants to bless us? Maybe this is the opportunity to help you reverse a disease that you were told that you could never, ever reverse. But what if there is? What if somebody is profiting from your sickness? What if it's time for you to reclaim your health? What if it's time to reclaim your happiness? What if it's time to reclaim your body and be your own MD, your own medical detective? What if? Would you join us on November 1st, 2025 from, as this is Florida time now, from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock? Or if you want to come a little earlier and be a teacher's pet, come from 8 to 6 on a Saturday, November 1st, so that you can learn these truths that you were created to be healthy. And just like I was trying to push God and to do the job that God was doing, that I knew God would do, once I said, I'm done. Resistance is done. I can't do this, but you can, Lord. I can't do it alone, but you can. I can't move a mountain, but you can, Lord. Once I did that, I got a call from my friend Julia. Joanna said, here, let me do this massive mail out for you. You know, Shauna is praying over me. Once I said, I surrender, Lord. I will do as you wish. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I was just trying to like drive all the ticket sales, you know, for people to get there because I feel responsible for the speakers and the vendors and I want that room to be filled and I'm declaring it. I declared it back then. We're going to have 300 people. But whoever God brings to this event will be blessed. Are you wanting to be blessed? So I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. And by the way, down below in the description, you will find the link to the event. You will find the code for $25 off. And you can text me at this number. You can say, I want that. I want to put my name in the winner's basket. I want to get a free ticket. I want to, or I want to pay for it, but I would love $25 off. Or can I have a scholarship? That's, there's so, just ask. All you need to do is ask. But the fear of being rejected keeps us from asking. I'd rather be rejected than never ask. Because if you don't ask, you take away the opportunity for someone else or something else to bless you, to say, oh, now that you ask, of course I do this. Really? If it weren't for my sister inviting me to Bible study many, many years ago, she invited me for 3 years. Had my sister Asia not said, Lily, there's going to be another Upward House at Bible Study Fellowship, had she stopped and said, well, I invited her 2 times, I'm not going to invite her again. She invited me. Just because you invite somebody doesn't mean they have to come. Just be invitation and let somebody else water the plant, water the seed. All I can do is plant the seed and then let other circumstances water the seed. Let it germinate, the crack open. Let it do whatever it needs to do. But I know my role. My role is to plant seeds. And if you hire me as your coach, then I can help you in any way you can. Because now you're open to feedback. You're open to this being curious thing. But many times we want to be right. We want to be right about our limitations. See, I told you that wouldn't work out because you want to be right about failure. Why? Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to be right about failure? So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. There should be a pop-up. If there's not a pop-up, go across the top and there's a thing called um, uh, workshops. Click on workshop and it will populate into a page. Scroll down until you see all the different tabs of the different workshop. It's the first workshop that says, I am the solution, Natural Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Disease. Just click on that one and it'll take you there. And while you're there, by the way, please subscribe to my website at whenyouneedafriend.com. Also, make sure that you check out my sponsors, support them the way that they're supporting the classroom, and also check out my Shop Now bag. And many of the people that are at the event, many of them, not all of them, we have lots of new vendors today, not today, but at the event. One of them is a colorectal screening. I've been trying to get someone to come and do the blood analysis, but you know what? God will put the team together. All I can do is invite. And it's up to, God to create what this is. And I'm excited for the people that have bought. And we are almost sold out of VIP. VIP is the one that sells out the quickest. That includes lunch, that includes front row seating, preferred seating. So you can sit wherever you want, but front row seating is reserved for VIP. And then I want to make sure that you check out my Lilly approved products, that they'll be there as well. Hopefully, most of them will be at the summit. And then you can become an enrolled student in the classroom, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month, a one-time donation of your time, your talent, treasure, whatever it is, wherever God is calling you. And that is the answer. We have got to seek God first to find the solution, to find the answers. And like I said, if you're being called today, if this is someone sent this to you, make note of it. Look at your calendar. See if you can come. There are probably some tickets available. I don't know. I can't make any commitments right at this point, but all you can do is try. All you can do is go online. I got a call this morning and someone said, I'm trying to get this, but this code is not working. Turned out it was the wrong code. And we went ahead and we made a new code so that the code that is out there, it will work. So, are you ready? Are you ready to be part of the solution? Some of the things that I do to help me. Oh, and by the way, let me tell you about Dr. Joe Furman, Dr. Thomas Levy. Both of them will be Zoomed in. And we have Dr. Mark Rosenberg, who's coming all the way from Boca Raton, Florida. He is an integrative oncologist. And of course, you know Dr. Thomas Levy from listening to the classroom. And he's going to be talking about Epstein-Barr virus and all these viruses and how to clear those viruses so that your body can start healing naturally. Dr. Joel Furman, world-renowned nutritarian. We have Sylvie Beljanski. Wait till you hear her story. We did a class with Sylvie, so that you should have her information. Brendan Legal. Brendan Legal will be bringing, talking about mitochondrial reversal, the tools that reverse mitochondrial damage. And they'll be there so that you can have free treatments with Brendan. And I'm hoping Brenda will be there as well. Renee Hahn, she's a chiropractor, a local chiropractor, and is upper cervical chiropractic. And she's going to be talking about how if your upper spine is aligned, it will make your life and your body in balance and be healthier. There's Holly Gilbert. She's going to be talking about IV therapy. And Dr. John Silva, of course, he's going to be talking about neurofeedback. And he's giving free QEEGs. So they see where if your areas of the brain that are light or dark or that are hot or cold, whatever. Dr. John Silva will be speaking at the event. And so everybody will be blessed at this week. Oh, now, of course, I'll be speaking too. I'll be your first speaker and I'll be talking about the mindset of health. So I want to go back to the belief as children. When you're a child, our ego is formed probably at the age of 3. And it's because, you become aware of who you are, just like in the Garden of Eden, when they ate from the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. And all of a sudden you start looking at yourself differently. And prior to that 3 or 4 years, you're being taught, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't stick your finger in the socket, don't cross the street without looking both ways, don't talk back at me, don't question me, don't just go to the teacher, don't make a scene, don't do. So that little children, all of a sudden, these are our belief systems. And those belief systems that protected us as children are now holding us back. There are people that believe that a certain race is worse than you. There are people who believe that they're better than you. There are people who believe so many things. Is it working for you? Your belief that you've had a raw deal, your belief that this disease is unfair, your belief that your illness is unfair, your marriage is unfair, your life is miserable. Your belief of that is what's creating it. But if you were to shift and rewrite your belief, rewire the brain, you learn new truths, then all of a sudden you can start shifting to who God created you to be. Why wouldn't you want that for yourself? Why wouldn't you want peace, love, joy, happiness, unexpected abundance? Why wouldn't you? I want a double dose. If you don't want it, I want your dose of creating the life that we want. And if that includes health, it starts with your mind. And if you have a diagnosis and you've been told there's nothing they can do for you, is that true? If you still have the why of why you want to live, then there is something you can do. You can be curious and start this journey. And I promise you, I'll be with you during this journey. As we get together at 8 o'clock in the morning and we greet our first person in, and last year we had people show up at 7:30. I'm like, okay, we're going to have so many wonderful people that have come together for this. I bet you, I'm not going to manifest it, but I might even cry. Because when I see that room with you in it, it will touch my heart in so many ways. Because I have been visualizing you from the moment we started planning this. I have visualized that room full. But my circumstances, the things that are happening that people were trying to cause me harm, the vacation, the feeling that I needed to make sure that I filled the room. It wasn't about me anymore. And I just need to trust the process. It's the only thing I have on my desk. This is my little reminder when I went through my personal growth, trust the process. That was my pillar. That was my pillar. And because it was my pillar, I needed to learn that because I'm a doer. You need something done? Done. I'm your girl. Even if I have to lose sleep, I'm your girl. Sometimes, and many times, you just need to trust the process. Yes, do what you need to do, but then rest and trust that God's got the rest. God's got us. God promises us that He will take care of us, that anyone who causes you harm, He will bless as good, that it will work out for the good of all. And that I am, if that I am is in us, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I am not God, but God is in me. God is in you. And God wants us to be strong and healthy and happy and joyful. So what am I saying about this yes? This yes is going to get us out of our comfort zone. This yes is going to heal our body. It's the start of saying, you know what? I want something better. I want something different. I want something new. Instead of, I'm anxious to go to your event. you can say, I'm excited to go to your event. Because anxiety and excitement are the same emotion, but one is used for harm and one is used for good. Which one do you claim? Which one would you like to claim? There's going to be so many gifts and lessons on November 1st. And I feel honored, just honored, that my yes remained. I went through a little detour. My yes became fearful after I said my yes. And I was losing sleep. And maybe you are too. But when your yes is based out of faith, it will trump that fear. And you've got to call it a lie. You've got to identify it, where it came from. Where did that fear come from? How did I inherit it? Is it my fear, or is it something I inherited from somebody else? Let's be curious. Let's learn together. Let's see if there's something that comes out of this that will help you feel better and get stronger. In worst case scenario, you're going to meet some incredible people and you're going to eat some wonderful food and you're going to laugh until you feel so satisfied. You might even dance. You'll experience different senses, something that maybe will get reawakened in you, like your why, your yes. When did your yes go from faith to fear? And that's what I had to answer last night as I am speaking to you from my heart with no preparation whatsoever. Because I know what God's ordained for me. And that could change. But I am committed to ask God before I do anything else. And I also need to understand that if I allow my fear to be greater than my faith, that I am a fraud. And I am not. I am a child of God, an heir to the kingdom. And I am excited and honored that I am inviting all of you to the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Disease on November 1st. Claim your free tickets. Claim your free tickets. And I'll send you a coupon code where you can register. But make sure you can be there from the moment you get there to the moment it closes. I am the solution, but so are you. And we are all going to work together because I'll be right there waiting for you. Worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.